Well, it's time for The Wheel of Time Season 3 trailer. And I am going to watch this with you and talk through some of it. And I've got extra bits of things that we've been given to do some little comparisons with. Are you ready? Let's just jump in and look at the actual video itself. I just love that we've got these. Let's just go. I'm going to scrub back a little bit because it goes so fast. I've been used to watching it kind of more screen by screen. So, we start with some walking in the waste, and that's pretty good. But what I love is that the first couple of times I watched it, there's so much I didn't see. But what I loved was that we actually get to see the girls riding on these horses. And what we know is that in the images that we got this gorgeous still image of the three of them. We knew that this was going to be from Egwene's testing. Just look at her, Harmel in gold, Elaine in green, Nynaeve in yellow, just a fabulous still. But then when we look at the actual video, we get to see that they're riding those horses. And as they're riding these horses, they're going along and we see Rogaine. If you didn't watch the 12-hour trailer guide on with the Dusty Wheel, then I might say some little things that don't quite make sense to you because we clowned really hard during that 12 hours and we came up with lots of little things, nicknames that we're calling things. And the nickname that we had for this is Rogaine, which is Rand being a slightly mad Logaine. Now, I have to admit, the first time I watched the trailer, I was kind of thinking that this was part of Rand's way back walk through the glass columns, but it's actually part of Egwene's testing. And I love it because it actually does hark back to stuff about Egwene's testing out of the book. And when we look at him, he does have just a slightly mad feeling to him. But what it also gave me remembrances of was the opening scene in season 1, episode 1, when we saw Leandrin chasing down the man who could channel and him being a bit mad. And so there was just this real sort of just shadowy feeling of the girls on the horse, them running, him with the long hair looking a bit mad. So I think that there is definitely some little callbacks there. The next thing we see is Moraine with the ball. Now, it's really interesting because we've got two scenes that we've seen both in the teasers and in the trailer that have got Moraine playing around with this Choden ball, as we've decided to call it. And one of them is this, which is this scene here as well, I do believe, because you've got to look at Moraine's clothing. So she's wearing a blue, almost shift type dress at the moment, and she's picking the ball up. And in the trailer, it's like she's inhaling, and there's been lots of jokes about the way the one power can be talked about as being like an addictive drug. And so she's pretty much inhaling that ball there, and then we see her channeling. But the thing is, we actually know that when she's channeling, she is wearing a totally different set of clothing. Oops, went a bit too far. So let's just have a little bit of a look at some of the stills, because when she's channeling with that ball, you can see she's got a Kisiera on, and she's got a very different top with all that lovely sort of gold filigree on it. And so we saw this exact one, right? So that's the same as what we just saw in the trailer, and we saw this in the teaser trailer. And so we know that Moiraine's not quite doing what we might think she's doing, and I have not worked out what she's doing, because it would appear that she will be channeling the totem ball or whatever it is in the final episode. So I'm gonna have to chew that one over a bit before I think I can really give you an opinion for sure on that one. Then we go straight from there into the hall in the tower. We know what this scene is because we had the description from people who got to watch it on the Thunder stage, which is that Nynaeve is brought into the hall. She testifies against Liandrin, telling everybody that Liandrin delivered her into the hands of the Shanshan. Black Aja is revealed, blah, blah, blah. And what I really love here, I didn't grab a still of it and I should have, but what I really love here is how this harkens to when Liandrin was gentling Logain. And we saw him rising up in the air with the weaves swirling around him and ripping the power out of him. And it looks to me like that is the intention Swan has. But of course, things go quite awry as all of that is happening, and the big bada boom happens, and there's a whole heap of Black Aja. So I'm not quite sure whether that means that these are sitters in the hall or whether they come bursting into the hall. But we do know that there will be a lot of shredding. And of course, that one there at the front with the bald hair, we saw her in season 2, and that's Joya. We know Joya is a dark friend or a Black Aja, and we know that she goes to Tanchico. It's just like fantastic, the effects they put on this fight. There's stuff flying everywhere. Look at that ball of flame there. And it looks like there's somebody up in that ball of flame. Do you think so? If there is, I can't quite figure out, like, had they got maybe, that's Liandrin inside that ball at the top there. So just doing this and recording this, I'm going to find new things that I hadn't seen yet. I hadn't realised that, but that's Liandrin inside that fiery ball. So here's my off the top of my head theory. Swan goes to still Liandrin, and the other Black Ajas, they retaliate, and they've wrapped her in this to protect her. Wowee. That's pretty fantastic. And what is just been shown to me, now I love this because I hadn't noticed this either, but Pilks was talking to me in my Discord server. I'll put links in the description below if anyone wants to come and join my Cards of Time Discord server. But what we've got happening here is Liana gets involved, and so we were having a bit of a chat. There was a few of us chatting in there literally only 10 minutes before I started recording this as to whether the staff that the Keeper has is actually a ter'angreal or an angreal, and she's able to use that in the fight, or whether this is a callback to Moiraine having the staff that she used as a focusing point. Now, it could be either, and either could be just as useful for explaining some things in the show. But what just totally has me rolling on the floor laughing is just look at those two sitters above my head there, and they are looking at each other like, what the actual fuck is going on here? So I think that we can trust those two sitters. They are not Black Aja, and they are not joining in. And I mean, well, how far can we trust them? Because they don't look like they want to help either. They are just like, holy fuck, should we get out of here or what? Just absolutely gorgeously hilarious. And okay, so there you go. obviously Leandrin was up there inside that great big power ball. Wow, it's just, there is always so much to see. Then it comes, this explosion comes out. But what's really interesting is if we look on the floor, there are already dead bodies on the floor. So this explosion isn't the first of the explosions that come out of the hall of the tower. Whew. And when we look at Tarvalon, it's raining. I was going to play it so that we could hear the sound and everything, but I think it's easier for me to control because it goes so fast if I just do it this way. Now, this makes it look like this is the entrance to the hall of the tower and has got something to do with this shredding scene, but I am certain that this is from the Age of Legends, and I actually think that this could be part of what Rand sees when he's going through the column, because I think that that's Luz Theron, and possibly Mierin is one of the women walking there, heading in to make the decision or to actually go and start drilling the bore. We're going to find out whether I'm right or not. Now we're flicking into the hall of the tower, and this is where it's really interesting because it does make it, seem like, these things lead one after the other. But that's one of the best things about trailers, is that they will totally trick us as to what goes with what, because quite often voice doesn't go with the scene that we're looking at. Two scenes, one after the other, have got nothing to do with each other. So it'd be really interesting to find out what happens with all of that. Here's just going back to that battle. Look at Swan. She looks magnificent. Now, we got this as a still image. And what's really interesting is that this goes along together. And I don't believe that the image, so here's what we're looking at in the trailer, and here's what we're looking at in one of the still images that we got. Because in the trailer, this comes just after that, it makes it look like Leandrin is in the hall, but I believe that in this image, Leandrin is actually already in Tanchico. And because she's in the same dress, her hair is dressed the same. So if I turn this off and we go back now to the fight in the hall of the tower, if I scrub back, you have a look and you see that Leandrin actually has her hair braided quite differently to what she has got her hair in this image. So this one is in Tanchico, and I'm going to tie that to another scene that we get in the trailer soon as well. This March, it's only like 4 weeks away. It's ridiculously exciting. Okay, now this is a great little scene because we saw a part of this scene when we got to see the teaser, which is that we saw Moraine looking up, and we know, again, because of what was seen on the Thunder stage, we know that the fight with the Black Archer is happening right this moment up in the hall of the tower, and the explosion can be seen from down in the streets. And so in the teaser, we only saw Moraine, but in the full trailer, we get to see Moraine, and Lan is with her as well. Then we get this scene with Egwene saying this. Now, Egwene is filthy, she's wet, she's wearing white, but it's kind of a bit weird, the neckline of what she's wearing. So I'm not 100% sure exactly when this is. Does this come, what I need is I'm going to pause this and go grab another image because something just occurred to me. Okay, that was worth me pausing for a minute and going off to get another image, because what I've got is the starting image of Egwene going for her accepted testing. And when you look, she's got on a shift that just has little straps over the shoulder. And in the trailer, she's got something quite different on. So wherever this is happening, it could just be in the inn after all of the, big bada boom has been happening, and maybe the fight came out into the street and Egwene ended up out in the street fighting, and that's why she's all wet and dirty. I'll have to chew over that one for a little while too, I think. But what she's saying is so powerful. Yeah, the tower is definitely falling apart. Let me just go back and I'll actually play. It is certainly falling apart from inside out. The very next thing we see is the fight in the street. Alana and her warders fighting together. She's doing the big booms. Now, we know that we saw her earlier in the hall of the tower. So that tells us that most of the Black Arger, or some of the Black Arger at least, including Leandrin, including Joya, escape. They're out in the streets and Alana is chasing them. And we saw basically this exact same thing in the teaser trailer that we also had. And here it is from some stills from the teaser trailer. And we know that it's Leandrin that she's fighting because we were able to see that in the teaser trailer. So what I love is we got some bits out of the teaser trailer with more. We also got some bits left out that were in the teaser trailer. And so we're able to just slowly put little extra things together. And this is the big one. This is the kicker. That scream. We all know that Alana's going to lose someone. So you know that my stuff is full spoiler. So we know that Alana's going to lose a warder. Here it is happening. Until the trailer, there's been a lot of debate. Would it be Ivan? Would it be Maxim? And people have had so many opinions over why it would be right or wrong for it to be one or the other. If you've been watching my videos, I've been on Team Ivan dies right from the very start, because I always said that that's going to have the biggest impact on both Alana and Maxim, because Maxim was in love with Ivan was in love with Alana's bonded to the both of them. It just makes sense to me, and I don't like to bring these things in, really, because I like the story to be for the story's sake, but we know that we lost the actor that was playing Ivan, and so it was really easy to replace him with an actor who's going to get killed in the first episode. And so, maybe they were going to kill Maxim off in the original writing. I don't know. But for whatever reason, there it is. Pour one out for Ivan. Bye, mate. Back to the actual trailer, and we're in the love shack. Now, I haven't quite worked out. This could be part of Moraine's visions when she's in the rings. I'm really not sure. It could be a Lanfear gotcha thing, either for real or in the visions, because there were at the Dusty Wheel at Trailer Garden, there were some people saying maybe she took the Terangriel with her so that she could keep in contact with Swan, but to me that wouldn't make sense, only for the point of view, why didn't she do that before? So what we do know is that if we look at the stills that we've got in the teaser trailer, we got this scene, and it has always really worried me that Swan is going to morph into Lanfear, but I just don't know how that's going to be playing out. Then we get Rand looking down through the spears, getting ready to go into Ruidian, and we've already seen different angles of that scene before. And now we get the first of the trailer scenes at the Battle of the Two Rivers. Just like amazing. So what you've got to notice is just above my head there's Fael, and she's got knives, not knives, plural. She is a badass. She's tiny little pixie, and she is fierce. Perrin is just as fierce. He's fighting with an axe in one hand and a hammer in the other, and that, like, which one do I use? I'll just fucking use them both. And he is just laying into that Trolloc, just absolutely fantastic. And in that scene, in the teaser, of course, if we lightened it up and we zoomed in and we went frame by frame, we actually got to see Fael in the background there fighting with the knives too. But in this video shot, it's just so much clearer. Just fantastico. Now, just look at the look on Rand's face. It's just absolutely cracks me up. He is just like, oh, what has he seen? And then we get the voice that we hear at that time is, there isn't enough ale in the world. It's fantastic. And Matt giving his best winning smiles. He's fabulous. And Perrin with his golden eyes. It was a really nice just sort of thing to have the three of them there together for that few minutes, I think. Blazing a new path for fantasy on television. Okay, now we've got Joya, and one of the things that I really want to make note of here with Joya that we need to notice is that these are like open torches on the walls, because again, if you've been watching much of the Dusty Wheel stuff, we have been doing window comparisons, we have been doing lantern comparisons, lamp comparisons, boot comparisons, ear comparisons, all kinds of things. And it is important, if you are not sure of where something is, you have to look around the architecture and lighting to figure it out. So I believe with these open flames here, we are now in Tanchico, and this could be harping back to the scenes where the girls are actually captured and she is sitting guard, maybe. Or has Joy been captured? At first, I was thinking it was Joy captured, but I think she is sitting outside the cell and she's guarding the cell. Miss Lanfear. I'm not 100% sure where this is, except that with the blue lighting, I'm thinking that she could well be in a Teleron-Riod scene. And people were making comments about long-haired Lan again, but I think that this is the morning after the night before. And this one, so Matt was, we got like a whole Matt teaser, which was just so fantastic. And in that Matt teaser, we got this scene, we got, so that was him with the sketching being done, and then we saw Rand's face, and then we also got this scene, and you can see that's the same shirt that Matt's got on, it's the same arch just behind him. So in the trailer, we only got like this tiny half a second just of him looking up, but not what was going on. And of course, that table full of food, he is just like, you know, binging out on lots and lots and lots of food. We know that well. Egwene, this is in the inn. exactly what's going on, well, we just don't get enough context for that. Now, this one, look carefully at the figure coming through that doorway. That figure is wearing red. I'm sure you can see that that's red in that doorway. It doesn't look so red a little bit after. And we go back to this look and then back to this scene. I do believe that this is Leandrin entering the Panache's palace in Tanchico. She's just arrived in town after fleeing the Blackadder fight. Now, again, on my Discord, a few of us were talking just before I came to do this recording, and it was funny. It's like everybody's dying to see the glass columns. I mean, I am just so hyped for that. It's ridiculous. Dying to see the Battle of the Two Rivers and all of what's going to happen there. Like, absolutely. Dying to see Moraine and Avienda in the rings. Like, huge. These are big, big, big. And it's time for those big ones. But this scene is like... It was really interesting again on the Dusty Wheel how some people interpret the look on Nynaeve's face. And to me, Nynaeve looks like she is absolutely horrified, and yet she is absolutely caught in a compulsion that's happening. That she can do nothing. She's kind of got that trance-like face, but to me there's also a look of horror underneath. We saw, if we looked closely at Megiddian last season, we saw that she had those black fingertips, which is how she does her little web weaving stuff, and that makes perfect sense, really. But then when you go from that look on Nynaeve's face, and it's that same touching of the face, that's a real Forsaken move, isn't it? And we go from that to look at the grin that Megiddian gets on her face. Oh, get your creep on, girl. This is just so full on, and such a tiny bit that we got that is going to mean so much. Incredible. Two Rivers, apple blossoms. Doesn't it just make you want to cry your little heart out? We can see Perrin is kneeling down there and Alana is walking in. So Alana is in mourning too. That paint that she's got on her face, if we have a look at season 1, that was when we had another funeral. So it would appear that for Alana's culture, some kind of white paint on the face has some significance. Probably the pattern that it's put on is significant, or the amount of paint, or maybe not. Maybe it's just there's something about the white on the face. But we can see there that we've already understood that that tells us that Alana is in mourning. And so Alana's in mourning, Perrin's back. Now, we haven't found out yet. Is Perrin just at Layla's grave and he, is dealing with the grief? Because being a widow myself, I can tell you a couple of years later, a significant thing, it just brings the overwhelming grief back over. Or has Perrin also lost his family on top of all of that? I reckon that Perrin loses his family, that where he gets back and finds out his whole family's dead, because that is going to have so much impact on the viewing audience, because they've already seen Perrin go through the loss of Layla, that it's just going to be just absolutely huge for him. Whatever the amount of grieving is for the both of them, it's going to be just such a tearjerker of a scene. Now we get Rand and Lan, and we didn't get to see much of them together in the trailer. So the teaser was great because we got the training montage stuff happen. So we'll see. And Loyal. Now, I'm going to just admit it outright. It was somebody else saying this in Trailer Guide On that allowed me to see, oh my God, they're right. And I don't know if I would have picked it up. But Loyal is in the ways. So it's a scene from season 1 when Loyal took everybody through the ways to get to Faldara. But in season 3, that's how Perrin is going to get through to the Two Rivers. And that makes perfect sense. If we build all of the way stuff and way gates, we may as well see the Manetherian way gate. We may as well see them using the ways. Okay, the kissing rock or the makeout rock. This is where Rand and Egwene used to come to make out. But we also know that it's where Rand would go to think, to process, and to be alone. But it's such a callback scene to season 1 when we saw Rand and Egwene sitting on this same rock in this same place. Now, what the ever-living fuck Rand said with Lanfear. So I believe that this is Tel'aran'rhiod. And yes, I believe it's Tel'aran'rhiod. So sorry, I just, because I have been near a little bit on it as to whether it was part of Egwene's testing that she was seeing things, but because of the way that, we'll see it in a minute anyway. But notice that Rand's got his shepherd's coat on from season 1 in this as well. I mean, it is just absolutely gorgeous. And it turns into them having a full-on kiss, which was not what was going on. Remember when Rand was there with Egwene in season 1, that was the breakup scene. And just look at, I mean, I reckon that has to be one of the best images out of the whole trailer. The look on Lanfear's face, looking over his shoulder. So that's why I think this is Tel'aran'rhiod. And even though I know the next scene is not Egwene seeing them, but I do think that Egwene has spied something, at least something, even if it's not this scene. I think Egwene spies something, but Lanfear is certainly looking at someone. And who else, unless it's Moghedien, but I don't think so. So this is not Egwene seeing them, although, could she be? No, she's definitely in the waist here. And it does flow on to this scene, because when you look back, that, that's Bear. And that's Bear. So it's like hood or hair. Definitely, that's Bear. So Egwene is in Tel'aran'rhiod. She's starting to learn some stuff. And Bear is taking the place of Amise. I love that Bear has got the white hair and yet she doesn't look old. Age is all relative, isn't it? I mean, she's not at all as old as me, that's for sure. And so we're getting a merging of Bear and Amise, and we know we're not going to get Amise as a separate character, but we are going to get, the roles and the important things that come in through Amise. And Bear's telling her that she doesn't belong here. This one is really tricky. I'll just let it play out. So we get Egwene must be in the dream world, and just look at how she is coming apart there, just like Lanfear does in Tel'aran'rhiod, or did in season 2. So I think that Egwene is in Tel'aran'rhiod learning the dream stuff, but she is having trouble with controlling things. And so I think that she slips into a bit of a nightmare which harks back to the PTSD from her experience as a Damani, but she is learning how to get out of that situation. Premiere fantasy TV series. Woo-hoo. And I'm sure every absolutely single one of us just presumed that was Avienda. I'm quite certain that it's actually Melindra. And the reason is that we have to have a bit of a close look at the cardan saw. And if we look at the cardan saw that Avienda wears, the skirt is different. The skirt, part of it is not so ropey. If we look at, now this is a bit dark, I probably should have lightened this up a little bit. But if we look at the skirt there, and at that, here we go, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. That's not the same person. So I'm quite certain that we have Melindra in this shot. What that signifies, I don't know. Wish I could tell you. There's so much we don't know. I love this shot. Probably all of you are already at the realization that that is not Rand's arm. I mean, it doesn't even look vaguely like Rand's arm when you really think about it. That is Ruark's arm. So Ruark is walking along. I would say that this is on the way to Ruidian, not on the way after Ruidian, and he is showing Rand his tattoos. You show me your ring, I'll show you mine. And we also know that when Rand gets to Al-Qadal, that Couladin is there, and we can see that Couladin has both the tattoos. So all I can say is, does that mean that we know we get Asmodean, and we know that we get Asmodean in the waist? Because we know that it's Asmodean who put the tattoos on Couladin. So could be an Asmodean confirmed. I'm going to take it because I like the idea of Asmodean being confirmed. They look pretty awesome, don't they? Just look at the honestly, these actors in this show as facial actors are chef's kiss. Like, just look at the contempt on her face, you know. To think that Cara Khan could be you, she is not impressed. And I would imagine it's also a matter of she's been told to get her ass to the waist at this point, because you can see that she's got Bane with her, and that means that they're in Tarvalon. They haven't split up yet, but she's probably been told that she's coming to the waist and that Rand's coming, and the thing about, you know, he might be the Cara Khan, and she's just like pissed off, like majorly pissed off. And Rand's just like, sorry. A binge-worthy epic. Oh, indeed. Do you think we're going to be binging it? I love some of the things. Must-watch television, thrill ride, most exciting and pivotal, satisfying, slickly executed. Ooh, we just can't wait. Superb season overall. Now we can see there that there is more than one person. There's fog behind, so they're walking down into Ruidian. Oh my God, the boot discussions on Trailer Guidon was just hilarious. Is it Moraine and Avienda, or Moraine and Rand? One or the other. Maybe it's all three and we've been completely tricked. Oh, sweat tent. Oh yeah, that was on my bingo card, and I did pretty well on my bingo card. And this is just fantastic. So we have Bear and Moraine in the sweat tent, getting some good discussions in, I'm sure. We know about these discussions from the books. And bam, we're in the glass columns. I love how they do those feet. We see Rand's shoes. So, that does not look like the boots from the previous because these are just shoes. But anyway, we see Rand's feet, and then that morphs into Chan's feet. Now I'm going to do another full one that's going to just break down what I think we get to see from the glass columns, because I think that while they haven't shown us the glass column sequence by any means, I think that they have shown us that we are going to hit all of the important beats. And we've got Rand and Lanfear. Honestly, Rand, run away, run away. And then we get this scene. Now, once again, if we go back to the teaser that we saw, we had this fantabulous image, and and it was like a 0.3 of a second clip or something where they both wake up and look at each other and we were all like, wow, what the hell's going on there, and laughing over it. But this is why I believe that when Egwene is in Tel'aran'rhiod, she sees something between Rand and Lanfear. I don't think she would be this upset if it was Elaine or even Aviendha. I just have a feeling that this is a Lanfear thing. So she's asking him, does he love her? And even though, like, the thing with Rand and Elaine turns into this gooey, sticky love really quickly, that's all on Elaine's part. Like, Rand's always like, I wonder how she is. But really, those 2 letters she writes just, have him a little bit freaked out. So I reckon that this has got something to do with Lanfear. That's what I'm saying. And you can see that she's got exactly the same clothing on here. And Rand doesn't have, he doesn't have exactly the same clothing on, but they're obviously both in the waist. And does she ask him before they go to bed and then she sees something in Tel'aran'rhiod, or does she ask him the next morning, or I don't know, but I think that they are connected. It's just heartbreaking to see him cry. Now, okay, as I said, I'm going to break this down further in a video because this has probably already gone ridiculously long, but I do want to have a look at one of the stills that He Who Tweets with the Dawn put up on Twitter, and it's not the full wide shot, but you could see it more clearly. You can see a head of Rand that definitely looks like a shape to me. So I am calling it Mirrodin is inside the columns, and we will see. Because to me, it can't make sense as to why Couladin is doing all the stuff he's doing unless Mirrodin's in there. We didn't get a casting announcement for Mirrodin. Well, I don't believe we're going to see very much of Mirrodin. We don't need a big name actor to be in a blue hazy place and rip their eyes out for a few seconds. We just need to know that there's someone in there, because really the big thing about Mirrodin is all of what's going on back outside of Ruidian by Couladin and Savannah waiting for him to come out. So I do believe that that's Mirrodin that we're seeing there. There's Moraine. She's got the sand on her lips. So she's in Ruidian. We can tell that because we've got that blue, hazy, foggy thing. And we know that we get lots of these photos of Moraine with sand all over her face and her lips. So, like, does she fall out of the rings onto her face, or, what happens? I don't exactly know, but it would appear to me that they all go together. And this was so huge watching the trailer. The first time I'm just like, who could possibly be in the rings with Moraine? And, because it's such a shock the first time you're watching. And it's like, obviously, it's Avienda. So I just love how they've let us believe that Avienda's going to take the place of Gaul because she was getting all chummy with Perrin and giving him some information and blah and blah and blah and blah. And, here she is. She's in Ruidian. It's okay. We get that whole arc. Moraine's stepping in, and now, bam, she's out, and Lan's saying, well, what the ever-loving fuck happened in there? And now she's back in, all sorts of bits of it going around and around and around. We can see that that's a very different top to the one that she was in when she's using the Choden Ball, but it's also a different dress to what she was in when she was picking that ball up. So a lot of, I've heard some people say that maybe she goes back into Ruidian to grab it, a bit like we know that Rand did that stuff. Anyway, there it is. It's just, that is going to be amazing. Now, I believe that this is a flashback. Let's just go slow. You see those weaves of the one power starting to go around them. So I believe that this is a flashback to when she bonded Lan. Some have suggested that it's actually her letting the bond go. Could be either, couldn't it? So we shall certainly find out. But we know that this is inside the Archers, and she's seeing the 1,000 possible futures. So she's bowing to Rand, and then I love how it does the flip, and she's Armelin, and Rand is dying, and see how black his blood is? It's like... And now she's Armelin again, and Rand is having to kneel to her. Not going very well. And I did someone suggest that that Swan is one of the blue sitters. I need to examine a still of that more closely. At first I thought Swan was the keeper, but I don't believe that's Swan. Then she's talking to Rand. Then she's talking to Lan, and now our favourite goth EF emo. Oh my God. I cannot wait to see that play out. And I hope that it's more than those few seconds, but I get the feeling it won't be much faster. This one we did not get in the teaser, where Lanfear is standing above Moraine and about to strike her with the sword. Now she's choking her. We did get the choking one in, but what we didn't get in the trailer was we didn't get this choking one, where they're in the Crescent Inn from the Foregate of Camelin. So, as I said, we get bits in each one, and some of them go together and some of them don't, and it's very delicious. Okay, very quick scene with so much packed into it. So it's funny because these two little snippets are in reverse order. This is where Magaze is about to sit on the Lion Throne, and she's very obviously pregnant, and over there on the left, so just above my head here, there's Elida. And then the next scene is actually before that, because she's walking up to the Lion Throne. And there was some terrific breakdown done about that that green banner there being one of the houses, and I should have taken notes on that one, that at the beginning of the succession did not support Morgaze and then flipped and supported her in the end, and they are there. So I would say that this is all to do with the succession. And what is really interesting is that we have Linny confirmed. Now, I haven't done zoomed in little pics, etc. for this because I just want to look through the trailer, but just over there beside the throne, on my side of the throne, there's two women with the white all over their head, and then there's a woman standing in front of them. And if you look closely on your own screens, we've got a woman with a small child standing beside her, probably 4 or 5 years old, and a baby in her arms. So that's Gawain and Galad. Now, here we are back in the Two Rivers, probably in the Wine Spring Inn, and we can see Alana has her morning painting on. And except for that quick little flash a moment ago at the succession, this is the only real look that we got at Elida. So we didn't get much royal stuff at all. Is Elaine talking to Elida? Probably not, I'd imagine. I mean, she may get to talk to both of them. Very hard to say, but I love this. Oh my God, this is just, when you look at the face on Gawain, it's like, and look at the face on Elaine, right? Elaine's there just behind me there, and she's just got a little smile on her face like, yeah, that's about right. So it's just going to be fantastic, that scene. And when we get to this next different camera angle, looking from behind Elaine, we can see that it's actually Nynaeve with her. Matt is with her. And if you look at that rack of swords beside Matt, that is the rack of swords that he knocks the swords down on. There's the release when we got told that we were getting Galad and Gawain, and that's the one where they didn't mix it up. But there's that sword rack, so you can see that's just after Matt has fumbled and knocked those swords down. Is that what gives Galad that moment to grab Gawain and knock him over backwards? It's going to be really fun watching this scene play out, however it happens. And of course, the thing is, we just know. We know in our own little heart of hearts that we are going to get the famous quarterstaff scene. We know it. Nobody can make me believe that we're not going to. So there you go. Now we're back at the Two Rivers, and we've got the battle happening. So I love how Alana is still in mourning, so she still has that paint on her face. So that's obviously a sign of somebody being in mourning. And I love the idea of cultures having something symbolic to say that you're in mourning, because when my husband died, I would go out into the world and I would just, everything felt surreal, and I felt like everything had changed for me but not for anyone else. And that it's like, if there had been some symbolism that I could have worn so that people knew I was in mourning, I would have felt like I could do anything and react in any kind of way, and it would be okay because people would know she was in mourning. But because only I knew that nothing was the same anymore, if I were to react in ways, because I would have awful anxiety attacks and things, then nobody would know what the fuck was going on. And so I love that we can tell immediately that Alana has got a culture that allows people to know she's in mourning. Whatever happens, yeah, just let it be. And here we go. The people of the Two Rivers, the old blood runs deep in Manetheren, that is for sure. Perrin's fighting and Maxim is there. So he takes a lead role in helping with the battle. I believe we get Lord Luke. I think that that's really obvious, but I love that we haven't seen anything about Lord Luke in this yet. But look at, talk about Helm's Deep callbacks. Just amazing. And I just lose. And woohoo! There she is. Doesn't Fael look fantastic? She looks brilliant. Just brilliant. Now, this scene. Again, really hard to see. I mean, if you're watching this on a small device, it's going to be even harder. But we have got, in the front there, we've got palisades. But then we've got another row of palisades that's just in front of those people. And they've actually got a tip on them that, well, I can tell you exactly what the tip on them looks like. The tip on them looks exactly like this. Because I have been on the Two Rivers set, not with any buildings on it. It was after the set had been completely dismantled. And I found a bunch of these. We knew that they were part of the Palisades, but the first time I saw Lauren from Unraveling the Pattern show some shots of the Two Rivers, I was like, oh, they're not. And I was really I've been on like high alert trying to find them. And there they were in this. And let me tell you, they won't kill you. They're bendy. They're like foam. So, they're quite safe, but you can see that they were attached to wood, and the wood would have been that full width of that. And there they are. So there you go. I have got a piece of the Two Rivers set. That's just, had to say it. Fantastic. Battle. And look at this. So, what are they doing? Loial, Bane and Chiad racing to join in with the battle? Or are they going to block off and close the Waygate? I reckon they are. I have a little bit of a theory. I am still hoping for Gaul. I'm not totally on the Gaul ain't train yet. I'm going to hope for Gaul. But I think, beyond my hopes, that Loial is actually going to take Gaul's arc on. I think that he's going to be Perrin's partner, and will even end up going into Tel'aran'rhiod with Perrin in the last battle. That's I'm going to say it early. That's what I think is going to happen. More battle, and I love how we go from this scene, which I don't think is part of the battle. I think it's running back to fix the Waygates. This scene is the battle, and then boom, we're back in the hall of the tower, and that is the explosion that Moiraine and Lan see from down in the streets. Because that's huge. That's back in the Battle of the Two Rivers, because you can see the palisades. This one, I would not have put this one together on my own, but I do believe that, again, someone came up with this during Trailer Guide On, and they believe that this is Alana affecting the weather to help with the battle, just the way Verin did. But where is Verin? Maybe it's actually Verin doing it. Maybe it's not Alana. Maybe Verin gets to do that very thing, because we saw Verin in the poster, but we haven't seen her in the teaser nor in the trailer. But maybe she's there. I thought that maybe Verin was going to go to the Two Rivers with Adelaus instead of Alana, but obviously Alana's there. It's either Alana or Verin, and it's weather magic, yeah. Avienda. So I believe this is after the rings. She has come back from the rings and she has had to remove her cut and saw forever. She's now in a Wise One apprentice clothing. So I think that that kerchief type top, which is really similar to the one Egwene was wearing, is for those who are being trained by the Wise Ones. And she's probably been complaining about not, having her spears anymore. And this is such a callback to the to the Leandrin with Nynaeve scene and the Sword of Fire. Some people have wondered whether this is Melindra, but I believe this is Avienda learning to deal with the fact that she is a Wise One now and a channeler and not a Maiden of the Spear. This is part of Rand's visions through the columns. And do you think that we're going to get to see the Darshane singers with the Ogier singing the no, that would be so good. Al-Kedal, the huge number of Aiel that have gathered there to hear the announcement by Rand as the Karakan, back in his visions. So what's he looking at? I'll talk about that when I do my vision breakdown. And this was just hilarious. So if somebody has heavy eye makeup on, then they're bad. Because Lanfear does not have the heavy makeup on, this is part of Rand's vision, and she's Mierin. Time to have another cry. So the kiss between Lan and Nynaeve. If you've seen any breakdowns of this particular photo, then you'll know that some of us who, zoom in and carry on with an eagle eye spotted that she has a chain around her neck. So is that chain got Lan's ring on it? And is this the goodbye scene when Rand gives her the ring? That's what I'm reckoning. And now we get Rand talking with Elaine. I really loved seeing this because I really feel that this is so much more pivotal than the, kissing in all the little nooks and corners in the hallways, but was that we know that Elaine gave Rand a lot of training about political matters. So she really helped him start to head off in a politically savvy line. And that's what we're getting right here. Okay, this is what makes me say we're definitely not getting Gaul, because I don't believe that Gaul is going to show up in the Two Rivers. Of course, he could come along in a later season. It's anything is possible. But what we can see here is that it's Perrin, Bane, Chiad, and Loyal that are going to the Two Rivers. So they've come out of the Manetheren Waygate and are walking to the Two Rivers village now. And that's Moraine in the rings. And that's, of course, we saw that in the teaser. So notice Alana has got her Tarvalon dress on. She's in Tarvalon, no morning makeup. So this is when she actually loses Ivan. And look at that. You can see that, can't you? A knife in the hand at the back and a knife in the hand at the front. So Fail, she likes her knives. Oh yes, indeed. And she knows how to use them. So I believe that she's not running to Perrin there, but they're in the battle. And by the way, we can see white cloaks. And that this is at the very end of the battle, that they've probably been split up. They're not seeing each other fighting, and then they finally see each other and they run up and they kiss. So I think that this is their first kiss, and I think that this is their, getting in and making out together. and that happens after the battle. Because I think that it's kind of one of those things of, during the battle, he realizes how scared he is about her. Is he going to lose somebody else to a fight with Trollocs? I mean, how triggering is this battle for Perrin when he's got a woman that he loves involved in it? So I think that's kiss number 2. This is kiss number 1. Lots of discussion over this one. It was Moraine vomiting, like, why has she got all that greeny goopy stuff out of her mouth? Lan is bleeding from the nose. She's wearing the clothing. You see there's that gold filigree kind of stuff. So she's wearing that clothing that she was wearing when she's using the Choden Ball. Did it not go as well as she thought it should? Oof. And Rand, so I would imagine that this has got something to do with Al-Khair or when he's coming out of Ruidian and he's realising who he's meant to be. And talk about 2 opposing scenes. He's just saying, I know exactly who I was born to be, and we get the absolute bubble of evil kapoom scene. I just can't believe how well they've done this scene. It's really just fantastic. And in my first really quick little breakdown, I did the whole thing of I'm on Team Elaine here. I'm Team Elaine for that one with the band around her head, but this one, I reckon that is Elaine that is in Rand's bed, because we had them starting to do the political discussions. So yeah, maybe he'll bed Elaine before he beds Aviendha or Min. Let's see. The order of things doesn't have to be exactly the same. We will find out. We did it. We got to the end of the trailer. And wow. For all of what we now know about season 2, do you know what? There is so much we don't know about season 2, and that makes it so exciting. I bet Rand really did need to have that little nap on the lounge. And the very last little thing that I want to look at is that we got a slightly modified poster. So the poster we got was like in portrait mode, and then we got a second one which had been spread out to be in landscape mode. And the really big thing about this is that everything about it was exactly the same, except that we can see a foxhead medallion around Mat's neck. Ha! Finn! I'm calling it. I hope you enjoyed that. It was really long. I didn't mean it to go on that long, but I've had a ball doing it, and all I can say is, well. Time. Please do check the links in my description below. You can come and join my Discord, follow me on other socials. I don't always get to talk on other socials as much as I'd like to. I do tend to talk a little bit on Discords, and I just show up at all sorts of other, particularly live stream events, and talk Wheel of Time till I just have lost my voice. Thanks for watching.